Good morning, Genesis friends. Today we're going to be learning more about the 2026 Genesis GV70 2.5 Sport Prestige. We're going to do a quick intro and then I'm going to teach you how to work this thing. We're going to do a full tutorial on it. So this color is Uyuni White. It's got a black interior. Horsepower, you're at 300 and 311 pound-feet of torque. MSRP, you're going to expect to be around 61, 62 on this. So let me do a quick walk around here for you. Gas mileage, you're going to be around 20 around town and about 26 on the freeway. Yep. And let's look at the back since we're here. These seats fold down to a 60-40 split. You can just pull these handles right here to drop your back seats. And then it'll come with this cargo tray. This cover here, if you don't like it, you can take it out and then it can just be stored underneath this cover here. So you can put that under here and you can get rid of that. All right, let's teach you how to work this thing. The first thing that we're going to do is actually start with your key fob here. You're going to get a white key and a black key. They're going to be exactly the same besides the color, so they're not linked up to any kind of profile. And then you've just got your standard buttons, your lock, unlock, lift gate, panic. And then if you ever want to remote start the car from the key fob, it's this hold button on the side here on the back. And the secret is always you have to lock the car first. So you press lock, you flip it over, hold that hold button down, and that's going to start up. It's going to give you 10 minutes max, so if you don't get in the car by 10 minutes, that will just shut off. So I'm just going to go ahead and press that again to turn it off. If you ever remote start the car from the key fob, it's going to default to 72 degrees on the inside. The app allows you to dial in exactly what you want to have happen, but with your heated seats and ventilated seats and everything. But if you do it from the key fob, it's going to be 72 every time. Walking up to the car, you never have to touch your key fob. Basically, you just put your hand in the handle and it will unlock. And then when you get out, you're just going to press your button here on the side and that'll lock it. Got your gas right here, so you just make sure the car is unlocked. You push on the outside to open that. They recommend premium fuel on these, so that's a 91 octane. Let's come over here. I'm gonna throw this key. All right, so we've got all your window controls here. You can fold in your side mirrors with this button, like that. Child door locks and windows. So if this light is on, then everybody's locked in on the back. This is your memory right here. So once you get everything how you want it, that's going to be your seat, your side mirrors, and your steering wheel. Then you're going to just go set 1 to program that to the first driver, set 2 for a second driver there. Coming over here, we've got parking brake. You would just pull right here to turn it on, and then to release it, foot on the brake, and you'll push right here. The car is so smart that most of the time you won't have to do anything with this. If you park on a steep enough slope, it'll just come on automatically, and then when you put the car in gear, it's going to turn off for you as well. You're going to open your lift gate by just holding this button down here. This is an illumination brightness for your screen, so if you want everything brighter or dimmer all your controls and the screens, that will do it. There is a setting I can show you where the screen will automatically go into night mode. It'll go black at night. That turns off traction control. I would probably just leave that how it is. And then this is a downhill braking control button. So if you wanted the car to slowly roll you down a hill, we're talking, low speed application, 10 miles an hour, 15. You could press that button and you take your foot off the brake and the car will slowly just roll you down a hill. I like to just set lights to auto. So you just twist this so the arrow is lined up to auto. Right there. So your lights will come on automatically, and then you adjust your steering wheel right here. Coming down here to your seat controls, this small one here is going to give you more support on the front. Forward and backward with that. This moves the seat forward and backward, up and down. And then you've got, this will tilt the back of the seat. You've got your 4-way lumbar support here, so you can dial in how you want the support on your back. And then these are bolsters, and if you want those to squeeze you and give you a little hug on the side, you pull this lever up and those will tighten up on the side. This is your massage seat right here. So the first push will just do the bottom, second push will just do the back, the third push will do the whole seat, and then the fourth push will turn it off. And the screen in front of you will let you know what's going on with that whole process. So don't get too confused there. All right, I'm going to go ahead and hop in. We're going to start it up. The first thing that you want to do is you want to make sure you get your profile set up right. So it's very common, you get in your car and it's set to like a guest profile. So you want to make sure that you've got your profile set up and all your settings saved. First thing you do is you come to your home screen here. If you happen to be in that screen, just twist your dial one to the right. This will be your home screen. You've also got your home button right here you could push. This is going to be your shortcut to get there. So you press that little icon up there, and then we can see that we're in driver 1, which is what we want. First thing you want to do, make sure you've got both keys in the car to do this. You can't set up a fingerprint reader without both keys. I don't have both keys with me just because I don't want to set up a fingerprint for just a car on the lot. But for you, make sure you've got both keys in the lot or in the car when you do this. You're going to start with changing your name. So you tap here, hit change name, put in your name there. Password's going to be a 4-digit PIN. So you'd put in a 4-digit PIN twice. And then you go to fingerprint identification, you'd put in your passcode. Once you do that, and then you'll basically hit like consent, set and consent, and then you'll notice your fingerprint reader right here is going to light up blue. What you're going to do is you're just going to move your finger around on there. You're going to work your way up to 100%. It's going to say it up here as you're doing that. So you'll move your fingertip around, get to 100%, and then a very important thing after you get your fingerprint set up is this profile lock right here. Make sure you say do not use on that. Profile lock would require your fingerprint to unlock the screen every single time you start the car. So keep that in mind. It can get kind of annoying. So when you turn it off, even though the car prompts you for a driver profile when you turn the car on, you can just ignore it, give it like 5 seconds, and that will go away as long as you've got it turned off. So that is getting your profile all set up. If you've already done connected services, it's very common for the name to just already be there for you, which is kind of cool. All right, well, once we do that, what I always recommend is getting your memory all squared away. So you'll move your seat around, you'll do your side mirrors, and then your wheel. Again, to adjust your mirrors, you're going to press either left or right, and then just use those arrows to move them around. And then we just go set, and then 1, and then we'll program everything to the one button. Alright, the next thing you will want to do is connect your phone to the Bluetooth. So you want to ask yourself, are you going to be using Apple CarPlay or Android Auto or not? Most people these days are using it, and I think you can't go wrong with it. People have wanted this for a long time, having wireless CarPlay and Android Auto, which you do get in this car. So I'll show you how that works if you haven't had it before. You're going to start off on your phone. You're going to go into the settings, and then you're going to tap Bluetooth, and then so you'll just be in your Bluetooth menu. And then in the car, you'll tap your setup button. You're going to go over to device connections, tap there, and then you'll just tap add.
Turn Bluetooth on,
and then on your phone, you're going to go to the very bottom. You're going to look for GV70 here.
Select the name that matches vehicle name on the screen.
I'm going to tap this, and then we're going to go pair, allow, and then it'll be connect. It's going to ask you if you want to use Apple CarPlay, which we do. So we're going to say connect, and then you'll notice up here on the screen, it's going to prompt you if you want to use it. So we're going to say yes here. And then we're going to wait for a second. We're going to get one more prompt on the phone. Then we'll just go allow. Okay, so just like that, that's our home screen for Apple CarPlay. Now, a cool little shortcut that I like to do, you'll notice that these Genesis cars have little shortcut buttons. So you've got a dot here, a star here, a star right there. They're customizable buttons. I like to program this star button to be a shortcut to Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. So you push it, it brings up the programming mode, and then what I would do is you just scroll down here and you look for phone projection and tap that. So phone projection is just a general term for Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. So now what that's going to do is if you're in any other screen, then all you have to do is press the star now, and it's going to be a shortcut to CarPlay or Android Auto. All right, now I like to ask the question, what are you going to be listening to while you drive around? That could be satellite radio, things from your phone, FM, AM, or whatever. So what we're going to do is we're going to press this button right here, and that's going to bring up, this is basically our audio source button. And now we can include everything we want in that rotation when we press a button. So once again, phone projection is going to be CarPlay or Android Auto. If you want sounds of nature, we got that there. I'll just hit FM, satellite radio. I'm going to hit the home button there. So now what we did is we programmed this to cycle through anything that you're going to be listening to. So what we're going to do to get started, I'm going to press this radio button. There you go. Wow, thumping out here. I'm going to go over to FM and just tune the station here. So you probably notice I'm just rolling this knob here to tune the station. Okay, so once you find a station you like, you can save it as a preset with this star right here. So you hit that, all of your presets are going to line up down the bottom of the screen. I always like to just turn on HD radio as well, so you'll get a little bit more information about what you're listening to. So let's do another one. I'm going to tune this. So we'll just save that station. Now we'll go back, we can come up here to satellite radio. We'll find a station that we like. We'll just do, we'll do this U2 station. So we'll save that. So the cool thing about these is that you don't have to go to satellite radio and have a separate list of presets. All of your presets are going to be just included in one giant list. Okay, so what we're going to come back over to the right side of your steering wheel here. You've got your volume up and down here, and then this clicks straight in. If you want to just mute your music, you just push that straight in, and that will mute it. Again, this will go. We can push this. There's CarPlay. There's FM. There's satellite radio. By by pushing that one around. If somebody calls you, you're going to push this to answer your phone call and to hang up. So it's the same button for both answering and hanging up phone calls. This optical mouse button is kind of cool. It does multiple things. If we're listening to the radio and we have presets saved, we just swipe our finger across here to go through our presets. So I'm just going to give this a swipe. And that's how we go through our radio stations. Again, that's anything that you save. Now let's say you're listening to music from your phone and you want to skip to the next song. That's what you do. You swipe your finger across there to skip to the next song. This little voice button right here, if you're using Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, you really don't even need this anymore. Because all you have to do, as long as it's set up on your phone, if you're using CarPlay, you can just say, "Hey Siri," and then she's going to pop up. Let me just say it nice and loud. "Hey Siri." Do you see that? So that's all you need to do to make a command. Then you can just say, "Call so-and-so." You can use it for navigating. So, navigate to Costco or find, whatever you want to do. But it does allow you, if you don't want to say the whole voice command, you can hold this button in for a few seconds to access CarPlay or Android Auto. So I'm going to hold this in. There you go. So the only other way that you would use this button is if you don't want to use CarPlay and you just want to use the car's interface. The actual Genesis interface is how it's going to be a quick press of this button instead. So you would just go.
Broader network searches are available with a subscription to Genesis connected services.
So you're going to get that annoying prompt if you haven't done connected services, but you could always just push that button one more time to bypass that. But then you would make your command. You can still make phone calls. You can still navigate, things like that, using the car's interface. And again, that's done with a quick push of that button. All right, so the other thing that your optical mouse button does is it controls this square up here, which is your widget. And if you're at this screen right here, it's a little tutorial that it wants you to go through. So we're going to just push this button, push, and then on this very last prompt, it says hold to not display again. So we're going to hold this button in to get rid of it. So what this square does is it shows you all the information on your car. It'll be like your... Oh, I'm getting a phone call. 1 second. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. My brother was calling me. He wanted to know what I want for lunch. Okay, so we were talking about your widget up here. This is where you can find all the information on your car. You can reset your tire pressure. You can have your music up there, or just, I'll show you all your cool options. So you access it by pushing this button in once, and then you'll notice these dots that showed up on the bottom and the side. Now you can swipe your finger across here to go through all your options. And then if there's dots on the side, that means you've got room to work with vertically as well. So you can go up and down, side to side. And on this trip one, you'll notice down here at the bottom, it always gives you instructions of what you can do. So it says OK ×2 to reset. So what that would mean is if you want to reset your trip, you'd go 1, 2, everything goes to zeros there. Once you find what you're looking for, you can either just leave it alone or you can give it one push to kind of lock it in. If you want to get rid of it completely, you'll notice it says hold to close up there. So I can hold this button in and that'll go away. And then a single push will just bring it back. All right, we're going to go over to the left side of the steering wheel here. This is where things get fun. No, I'm sure we're already having fun. This is your cruise control button right here. So once you get to the speed that you want, you just give it a single push and that will turn on cruise control. And the cool thing about our Genesis cars is that with one push, it will turn on cruise and set you at the speed that you're at when you push it. So you don't have to push another button to set it. But once you're in cruise, you're going to bump your speed up and down with that toggle. And then not only does it bump up and down, but it clicks straight in. And what that does, it's a pause and resume for cruise control. So let's say you've got 80 miles an hour programmed in and you just want to temporarily pause cruise, you can click that in, and then when you're ready to resume your 80 again, you just give that another click. Or if you hit your brakes, that would just pause cruise, and then you can give that a click to resume whatever speed you've got programmed in. This is adaptive cruise control right here. It's always part of cruise control. So if you turn on cruise, adaptive is always going to be a part of it. All this button does is it adjusts the distance between you and the car in front of you. So as you push the button, you're going to get closer to the car in front of you. It's going to be 4, 3, 2, distance 4, 3, 2, 1, and then it's going to bounce back up to 4 if you hit it again. So again, this can't be turned off. It's all about just adjusting what distance you want to be at. And it works really well on these cars. This is another customizable button that we talked about. You could just press it. It'll bring up the menu of what you want to program that to. This toggle right here just gives you different looks up on your cluster of what you want that to look like. So you could have your navigation there in front of you. You can even have Apple Maps in front of you if you're using CarPlay up here in the screen. So you could have your trip information, and then it moves the nav over to the right. So this is the one I kind of recommend, because if there's a car in your blind spot, you're going to get red beams up here on the side of the car, which is nice. Because this 2.5 doesn't have a head-up display, so you know, you're not going to get that in front of you. So it might be helpful just to have that on the screen in front of you. Also, you get your digital speedometer. Speaking of your digital speedometer, if you want to go into more of like an analog gauge mode, so we talked about bumping this up and down, but if you click it straight in, it's going to go into your analog gauges. And the cool thing is that these gauges change depending on what drive mode you're in as well. So we'll just click that back in. So a little personal preference thing there. Some people really like the analog gauge. Some people like the digital setup there. All right. We're going to talk about the car's navigation real quick. I know most people these days are using CarPlay and Android Auto, but if you want to use the car's navigation, then you just start with your map button here. This will bring up your map screen. Let me just close here. If you want to adjust anything like the volume of the voice, you can hit the bottom, this little ribbon going across the bottom. You could just tap this, and then it'll bring up the small menu. You can hit guidance, adjust the volume there. All right, let's say you want to find something. You can either press this magnifying glass right here to go into your search menu. So then you just type in whatever you're looking for. It can be the name of the address, the name of the company, whatever. The other option is you can press your nav button right here. This is where you can find, you can hit search to go into where we just were, previous destinations, which is really nice. If you're like on vacation and you need to find, you know, a previous destination that you just found recently, you've got that. Nearby POIs, those are places of interest, so you could just filter that by restaurants, gas stations, whatever. And then you can save places here as well. So really easy, works really well. Coming down here, these are your air conditioning controls. So you just dial in your temperature with this knob. You've got a little fan and a big fan for your fan speed. You could always just hit auto if you wanted. And then you can dial in the direction of the airflow by hitting these little waves where you want the air to go. You got your heated seats, ventilated seats, heated steering wheel right there, front defrost and rear defrost. Coming out here, this is your drive mode selector. So you can dial in the performance of the car and different terrain modes. And you basically just bump this around, and you'll look up in your cluster to see which one you're in. So eco mode is just going to be kind of wimpy mode. This will give you less power but better gas mileage. Comfort mode is going to be your all-around day-to-day balanced drive mode that you'll probably want to be in most of the time. And then when you're feeling spicy, you've got your sport mode here. The car is going to give you everything it's got. everything's going to tighten up on you. And then Sport Plus, it's going to turn off traction control for you, and it's basically just going to turn everything up to the very max. So I'll just put that back down in comfort. There is that My down at the bottom. That is a customizable drive mode. You can kind of Frankenstein your own drive mode with bits and pieces of each one and make your own custom drive mode. Now with terrain mode, you basically push this in straight down, and then it's going to ask you what terrain mode, and then you just bump it down, push it, and then go down to what terrain mode. Snow is probably going to be the only terrain mode that you would really use. This is going to transfer more power to the front wheels, so you're getting like a 50-50 power distribution, and then it manages your torque better as well, so you're not getting too much power in the snow. So that is how you access terrain mode. This is idle, stop, and go. So if you don't want your engine shutting off at red lights and stop signs, you press this button, it'll override that. So keep that in mind. Parking sensor, just leave that light on so the car beeps at you when you're getting close to hitting things. This is your parking view camera. Basically pulls up your 360-degree view of your car. So you've got all your front angles here, all your back angles here, and then this is your cool 360-degree view of the car. Very good for saving your wheels. You know, if you're going slowly through a parking lot, you're like, man, how close am I to that curb? You can bring this up, and I think it's really helpful to make sure you're not curbing your wheels. All right, auto hold here. This is basically like a parking brake while you're in drive. So it allows you to be driving, come to a complete stop, the car will hold you in place, and then you can just take your foot off the brake and the car won't roll forward. It works in reverse, neutral, or drive. Very good for if you're going through the drive-through and you don't want to keep holding in the brake pedal and you don't want to put the car in park. That will be a saver for your ankles and knees if you've got, you know, bad ankles and knees. We're going to come up here. This is your home link system, so you can program a garage door to those buttons here. This one right here, I always like to turn that on. That means all the interior lights will come on if a door opens. But then you've got lights right here and here and here. Sunglass holder right here. And with the sunglass holder, sunroof right here. And with the sunroof, it's all about soft bumps and hard bumps. So if you just want the shade open, you just do a soft bump. And that will just do the shade. Or you could just give it one firm bump back to open both at the same time. If you want to just crack the glass open, you just push this straight up. And that will just give you a little opening there. These two buttons we'll call Genesis. So if you need roadside assistance or just have a general question, you can press that button right there. It'll call them right through the car. This one right here is the SOS button. You have to really mean it to press that button. It's going to call their dispatch line. The cops are going to show up on that one. All right, let's do some fine tuning of your car. We're almost done here with just a few more things you're going to want to dial in. Number one, if you need to set your time, if you know the time zone's off or whatever, all you have to do is just press the actual numbers there, and then it'll bring up your menu, and then we just go daylight savings time, or turn that off, and that will fix that for you. The next fun thing that we can do is we can customize the color of this car up here, and it'll reflect in all your settings and here in the cluster. Since I'm in a white car, I don't need to change that, but I'm going to show you if you've got like a red car or black or whatever. I'll show you how to change that up. You start with your setup button, and then with our dial, we're just going to twist until we get to screen theme / layout here. You're going to go one down one to exterior color, and then you'll just twist that around to find the color of your car. So that's kind of fun. The next thing we can do is your ambient lighting. So you're going to start off with, again, with our setup button here. This time we're going to hit vehicle. We're going to go down to lights, ambient lighting. You're going to go down one to color, and then you just twist it, find the color you want. You can even do a set custom color. So if you don't like any of these options, you go down to set custom color, and then you can just pick whatever you want in the whole spectrum here. So that's kind of cool. I'm going to go back a screen. So not only does this dial twist and select, but it bounces around too. So up and down, side to side. I like to bump it over to the left. You can select brightness and then just crank this up. So that will really pop at night. And if you don't want it to dim at night, you can uncheck the dimmed and dark box right here. So it will always stay that bright. Speaking of brightness, earlier I mentioned how you can make sure that this goes either white or black depending on what time of day it is. So if you want to do that, again, it's going to be your setup button. We're going to twist back over to screen theme / layout, and then in this graphic themes option or menu, this is where you'll just pick white or black or automatic. I'll show you what the black one looks like. So I'm going to select that. Pretty cool. So yeah, most people just like that in the automatic mode there. Okay, the last thing we're going to do is get your sound all dialed in. So you're going to want to take advantage of this Bang & Olufsen system. So we're going to press our setup button. We're going to go to sound. And now, you can kind of increase the sound. Like, it's got a surround sound option. You can bump that up and down if you want. But you're going to go to this Biosonic thing right here. And then they don't use a treble, mid, and bass. You basically just have to drag your finger around, drag the marker around to where you want it. I've found that kind of over here in the bottom right is really good. So personal preference, find what you like, and then you also want to go to position and then just make sure that the marker is right there in the middle, or once again, if you want it somewhere else, you can just twist your dial to move that around. The last thing I always like to point out is that in your glove box, you're going to find a quick reference guide. It's a consolidated owner's manual, so you don't have to dig through your giant book, but that goes over everything that we talked about. And then it also, on the back of it, is going to have your maintenance schedule. So look for that. Plan on about every 7,500, 8,000 miles for service on this. But I hope this video was helpful, and let me know if you have any questions, and please subscribe to my channel as well. And thanks for watching. We'll talk to you later.